Hello. Hello. Distingués invités, mesdames et messieurs, à vos différents titres, rangs et fonctions, bonjour. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol duly respected, good morning. Good morning. Bom dia. All right. I hope you all had a good night's rest in this wonderful and legendary city of Marrakesh. And may I just add that it is absolutely good, yes, it sure feels good to see us all together again, reunited on the roof after nearly 3 years. I am Patience Selango from the ID4Africa General Secretariat, and I will be your master of ceremony for the opening session this morning. With the time now being past 9 a.m., I am pleased to announce that the 2022 Augmented General Meeting of the ID4Africa movement has officially begun, and it is my honor to call to the stage the one and only Dr. Joseph Atick, the Executive Chairman of ID4Africa, to deliver the official welcome and State of ID4Africa address. Doctor?
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. En raison de la portée mondiale de notre événement, mon discours ce matin sera en anglais. I will continue in English in view of the international scope of our event. Honorable Minister of Digital Transition and Administrative Reform, Dr. Ghita Mezzour, Wali of Marrakesh Region, Governor Director of ICT of the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Harrak, distinguished members of the Moroccan government, honorable ministers from Nigeria and Madagascar, representatives of African governments and international development agencies, and worldwide industry, attendees in the auditorium and viewers online, all other protocols observed. I'd like to begin by thanking the Ministry of Interior of Morocco for being the host and for their warm hospitality. As a tribute to our host, I'd like to ask all attendees to join me by standing while the national anthem of Morocco is played. Please be seated. Indeed, we are very pleased to finally be holding our physical meeting in your wonderful country after we failed to do so in 2020 and 2021 due to COVID. Despite many lingering pandemic-related problems and disruptions worldwide, our meeting today is setting several new records. While we had to limit the number of attendees to under 1,200 for health safety, the number of organizations and countries represented physically has gone up to over 600 identity stakeholder organizations from 100 countries worldwide, including 51 African countries. Now it's my pleasure to officially welcome all participants, physical and online, to the kickoff of what we now call the Augmented General Meeting, or AGM, themed Identity in Context. The digital transformation journey begins. Before I explain the agenda, let me take a few moments to update you on the state of the ID4Africa movement and the challenges of ID for development worldwide. Last time I stood in front of the General Assembly was in June 2019 in South Africa. In fact, precisely 3 years ago. In those 3 years, much has happened and the world has dramatically changed. ID4Africa had to adapt structurally to the new reality. I am proud to say that our movement gained strength by embracing digital transformation of its engagement channels. We went from engaging with the community once a year physically to interacting and working together several times a month virtually. Our dialogue acquired continuity, depth, immediacy, and more relevance. Together, we fine-tuned a methodology for crowdsourced knowledge development and dissemination we call the livecasts. We have thus far produced 30 episodes with over 80 hours of content, all available as digital public goods on YouTube for the benefit of all. Through the livecasts, we covered a broad range of important topics. This virtual platform allowed us to expand our reach geographically to over 130 countries in the world, and to welcome new actors. The dark side, for example, of identity, mitigating the risk, gave voice predominantly to civil society and created an honest dialogue among groups that did not have the habit of talking to one another. I want to thank the several thousand viewers who routinely attend the livecasts and the over 300 speakers who have thus far participated and shared their knowledge and expertise. This platform is yours. I also want to thank the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and in particular, Kanwal Singh, Senior Program Officer, for having understood the value of community-developed content and for supporting its production. So where do we go from here? The answer lies in the complementarity of our physical and virtual platforms. And that is why we talk about the Augmented General Meeting. We must move away from one-time per year tribunes to ongoing engagement models, which we believe is needed in order to make progress addressing the new challenges of the ID4D agenda. These have become even more significant in the last 2 years, partly because the need for digital transformation has become more pressing. It is no longer sufficient to produce national population registers, even linked to civil registers. You need to ensure that every aspect of your governance and service delivery has a digital twin. This is why digital identity must be put in context. It enables and interacts with authentication platforms, payment systems, digital signature, data sharing, KYC systems, consent management, and sectorial service delivery platforms. Effectively, it is what empowers tomorrow's government stack ecosystem. This implies our end goal in ID4D is not about digital identity. It is about building public infrastructure for governance and service delivery that's frictionless, robust, and respectful of people's rights and liberties, including the right to their legal identity. This is our updated objective. This is significantly more sophisticated than traditional identity management, and unless it is done right and quickly, countries will fall behind. The pace of change is accelerating, driven by innovation and opportunities in digital transformation, but also by emerging challenges such as pandemics, war, and climate change that are all producing shocks requiring identity management of populations and their special needs. In this context, however, I appeal to you in your rush to address this urgent need to pay careful attention not to erode the trust of the people. Legal frameworks and guardrails for protecting privacy and human rights must be in place and must be a priority, not an afterthought. Let us also stay away from potentially harmful technologies and modalities like facial surveillance, DNA, and some applications of artificial intelligence that come with significantly troubling ethical issues without adding genuine benefits to the ID4D agenda. I personally believe that the difference between brilliant success and dismal failure of an ID project will be measured in the trust it earns of the people it serves. Today, we launch our AGM with a theme that's responsive to this updated objective. Before I share with you the agenda for the AGM, I'd like to update the call to recognize 16 September as Identity Day in commemoration of Sustainable Development Goal 16.9, which we had first made in 2018. Today, I call on all relevant African authorities to officially recognize this day as their Identity Day. Let us not wait for the international community to act at the UN General Assembly. Let us not wait for the UN to drive this agenda. The official recognition of September 16 as Identity Day is an effective tool to sensitize the population and mobilize national resources around this important cause. Nigeria led the continent in this regard, and we applaud them for it. We would love to see the rest of the African countries doing the same. Together, the African voice will be heard, loud and clear, all the way to New York, all the way to the General Assembly. I also like to recognize the Ambassador Class of 2022, which has set several new records in terms of female participation and seniority. As you may know, each one of the 48 member countries of the ID4Africa movement can have an ambassador and a deputy. These brave men and women continually advocate identity for all in their countries and have been instrumental in ensuring the livecast success and are responsive to their country's needs and in supporting the AGM, the current one. The role of the ambassadors will become even more significant going forward, as I am pleased to inform you that ID4Africa has been granted by the government of Mauritius an official not-for-profit charitable foundation status for the benefit of all Africans. We are very pleased with this achievement. And we will work with the ambassadors to broaden the role of the movement under the umbrella of the foundation and to build the appropriate African governance structure. Now, let me share my perspective on the program, which will consist of 4 days, 2 physical and 2 virtual. Today, we will have the plenaries. Right after the ceremony, we will officially declare the exposition open with a visit to the booths upstairs. We will then swiftly return here to start precisely at 10:30 the first plenary session, the Identification Arena, a session that will consist of 4 exciting segments. In the first segment, I'll engage with the Honorable Minister of Communication and Digital Economy from Nigeria in one-on-one to talk about accelerating the pace of transformation. This will be followed by a segment on greenfield initiatives based on open source with Morocco, Ethiopia, and Philippines reporting. In segment 3, we will explore the reform of civil registration as the foundation of legal identity with Rwanda and Cote d'Ivoire. And finally, in segment 4, we will have the seasoned practitioners panel with the leaders from 4 most mature identity programs in Africa: Nigeria, Uganda, South Africa, and Kenya, sharing their experiences. And that's not all. In the afternoon, we will continue the plenaries with the Exciting Solutions Forum. I like to call your attention to another presentation from Morocco in the afternoon. It will be on the implementation of authentication for service delivery based on the national identity. This is complementary to the National Population Register project, which you will hear about this morning and which is used for social programs. So between those 2 presentations, you should have a clear idea about the host impressive identity ecosystem. Of course, don't forget to join us for the 2023 host reveal ceremony. At 3 p.m. today in this room, I will announce who the host for the 2023 will be, but also I will explain to you the procedure for the 2024 because we've begun accepting applications. So if your country is interested for the 2024 host, please let us know, but also attend to see, I will share other insights about how the world is evolving in that regard. Tomorrow, we break new grounds through the workshops. These give us a new way of interacting. Instead of passive listening, we are emphasizing active participation. We have 4 workshops with responsive themes. I thank the development partners, DPGA, IOM, UNICEF, and the World Bank for chairing these sessions. I'm pleased to quickly unveil the contributors and discussants and chairs. Each workshop has about 30 contributors, and they are as follows. I should emphasize that the workshops will be subject to the Chatham House rule to allow for open discussion and brainstorming without fear of being misquoted on Twitter or the media. It is our hope that the majority of contributors to these workshops will carry on as active members of ongoing working groups. Just like with the live casts, we feel that continuity of engagement is necessary for real progress. Anyone not on the contributor list, you can still attend, but only as an observer. Summary for the deliberations of these workshops will be delivered via live cast on June 28th and June 30th. So keep an eye on the announcements. Of course, throughout the 2 days, you will have ample time to visit the exposition and experience hands-on solution and technology demonstrations from the world's best and most established innovators. Please stop by as many booths as you can and thank them for being here. I can tell you, it hasn't been easy to assemble all of this wonderful technology and expertise and people under one roof. I want to close by saying that the list of people responsible for making this physical component of the AGM possible is too long to mention individually by name. It includes Moroccan government officials who have been tremendously, tremendously wonderful, our ambassadors, the development partners, speakers and contributors, exhibitors and sponsors, and of course the ID4Africa General Secretariat and volunteers who have worked tirelessly to pull off this massive logistical feat in challenging times. Thank you all. Thank you also goes to the attendees who have come with passion and enthusiasm to help the movement reboot its physical meeting. I want to wish you all a AAA experience, active, actionable, augmented. Let us seize this opportunity to do what we could not do for the last 3 years, and let us make the reboot a highly memorable milestone on the long road of identity for all. Thank you for listening. Now, it is my pleasure and my honor to call to the stage the Honorable Minister Mezzour, who will deliver the welcome speech on behalf of the Moroccan government.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على مولانا رسول الله. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui à Marrakech pour la 6e Assemblée générale du mouvement ID4Africa sous le thème. I think there is instant translation, so I give my speech in French, but I think there is instant translation for English. So good. Sous le thème « L'identité mise en contexte, la transformation numérique débute ». Ce rendez-vous, très attendu par la communauté internationale de l'identité pour le développement, est aujourd'hui incontournable. Il vient mettre en avant tout ce qu'apporte votre Assemblée sur les plans conceptuels, opérationnels et réglementaires à des défis majeurs de développement économique, d'inclusion sociale et de renforcement de la capacité des États à délivrer les services aux citoyens, en particulier en période de crise ou de catastrophe. Cette nouvelle édition place la question de l'identité dans un contexte global important. Des millions d'individus en Afrique et dans le monde sont confrontés tous les jours à des situations où la question de la preuve d'identité est cruciale pour accéder aux services publics, notamment l'éducation et la santé, afin de percevoir des prestations de protection sociale, participer à la vie démocratique, passer des frontières ou mettre en œuvre des stratégies digitales pour les entreprises. Cette assemblée se veut ainsi un lieu de réflexion, de dialogue et d'émergence de nouvelles idées, mais aussi un carrefour d'opportunités, de coopération et de synergie, avec des invités venus des 4 coins du monde et des intervenants de qualité mobilisés sur les différents thèmes. Je tiens d'ailleurs à rendre hommage aux équipes qui ont organisé cet événement, en particulier au Dr Joseph Atick, président, directeur général du mouvement ID4Africa, dont je salue l'enthousiasme et l'engagement. Je tiens également à vous souhaiter à toutes et à tous la bienvenue à Marrakech, cette ville millénaire qui a donné son nom au Maroc et qui est sans contexte une ville symbolique. Elle a été à travers toute son histoire un centre politique, économique et culturel majeur en Afrique. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, le Royaume du Maroc est plus que jamais conscient de la place centrale de la gestion de l'identité pour assurer les droits aux citoyens, renforcer la gouvernance, améliorer les politiques et les services publics, notamment à travers la transformation digitale de l'administration. Dès le début des années 50, le Maroc a mis en place et amélioré en continu un écosystème intégré de l'identité qui couvre l'enregistrement à l'état civil, la délivrance de la carte nationale d'identité et l'identification pour la protection sociale. Aujourd'hui, les Marocains sont enregistrés à l'état civil et les Marocains adultes ont une carte nationale d'identité. Récemment, le Maroc a lancé le registre national de la population, le RNP, un système d'identification qui permet de faciliter l'accès aux citoyens au programme de protection sociale. Ce dernier assure l'identification et l'authentification des bénéficiaires des programmes d'appui social, quel que soit leur âge, notamment les enfants, les mineurs et les étrangers résidant au Maroc, et facilite l'interopérabilité des systèmes pour la protection sociale. Depuis quelques années, le Maroc a initié plusieurs projets d'infrastructures digitales publiques structurants pour la gestion de l'identité et de l'identification, modernisation de l'état civil et numérisation des archives papier associées, modernisation de la carte nationale d'identité électronique, création de l'identité numérique et d'un écosystème d'authentification des usagers des services numériques, sans oublier la mise en place du registre national de la population et la création de l'identifiant digital civil et social, IDCS. Le gouvernement du Maroc a également entrepris une réforme du cadre légal et des politiques relatives à la gestion de l'identité. Plusieurs lois ont été adoptées, le registre national de l'état civil, l'identité numérique, le registre national de la population et le registre social unifié. D'autres lois transverses, comme la loi relative à la simplification des procédures administratives, la loi sur la protection des données personnelles ou la loi sur la sécurité des systèmes, contribuent à protéger la vie privée des citoyens et leurs données identitaires contre tout usage abusif ou détourné. Cette dynamique de modernisation répond à 2 impératifs majeurs: la modernisation de l'administration et le développement de l'économie digitale, qui constituent des leviers majeurs pour l'innovation, la compétitivité, la croissance, l'inclusion sociale et l'amélioration du niveau de vie des citoyens en général. Grâce à ces systèmes de gestion de l'identification, en pleine pandémie de Covid-19 et durant un confinement total, les citoyens marocains ont pu faire les demandes d'aide financière liées au Covid-19 de chez eux, via Internet, et de recevoir les transferts monétaires par tous les canaux de distribution bancaire disponibles et ceux qui soient bancarisés ou pas. C'est un bel exemple de la valeur de la modernisation et de la digitalisation des systèmes d'identification et d'authentification, qui constituent aujourd'hui des instruments essentiels à l'élaboration et à la réussite de politiques économiques et sociales qui impactent positivement la vie des citoyens africains. L'Assemblée que nous inaugurons aujourd'hui est donc cruciale dans la réalisation de cette ambition pour notre continent et démontre l'engagement de toutes les parties à relever le défi du progrès économique et social en Afrique. En effet, cette édition réunit plus de 1200 participants et décideurs gouvernementaux de 99 pays, dont 50 africains, ainsi que des experts internationaux, 500 organisations et une centaine d'exposants. L'ensemble de la communauté d'identité est réunie aujourd'hui pour échanger sur l'identité et les systèmes d'identification et d'identification. Dans cette belle cité de Marrakech, riche en lieux et architecture, qui symbolise de l'histoire millénaire vivante de notre royaume. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, le thème de votre assemblée est très pertinent. La gestion de l'identité ne peut être réfléchie indépendamment du contexte du développement économique et de l'inclusion sociale. Les deux objectifs sont intimement liés. La promotion de l'inclusion sociale et du développement durable à tous les niveaux ne peuvent être réalisés sans assurer une identité juridique à tous et déployer des systèmes de gestion de l'identité à la pointe de la technologie. Sa Majesté le roi Mohammed VI, que Dieu l'assiste, dans son discours à la nation à l'occasion de la fête du trône en 2018, a désigné l'identification et le ciblage des bénéficiaires au programme d'appui social comme une clé majeure de réussite de la réforme de la protection sociale. Ce ciblage est réalisé par l'enregistrement des individus et des ménages dans le registre national de la population et le registre social unifié, deux plateformes digitales à la pointe de la technologie. Le lancement récent de la plateforme d'identification de l'identité numérique de la CNI par le Maroc donnera plus de liberté et ouvrira des horizons nouveaux aux acteurs de l'économie numérique dans notre pays. Cette voie n'aurait pas été possible sans un long chemin de développement du numérique dans notre pays, entamé il y a plusieurs décennies sous le règne de Sa Majesté le roi Mohammed VI, que Dieu l'assiste. Les parcs technologiques, les universités, les instituts de technologie et les entreprises marocaines innovent et développent aujourd'hui des solutions digitales qui répondent à toutes les applications de la gestion de l'identité et de l'identification dans les domaines publics et privés au Maroc, en Afrique et dans le monde. Je tiens donc, pour finir, à réitérer ma joie et à ma satisfaction de voir votre communauté réunie de nouveau afin de partager les connaissances et réfléchir à des voies innovantes encore plus efficaces pour accélérer le développement de notre continent et contribuer à construire un meilleur avenir pour les Africains et aux Africains. Une fois de plus, je vous souhaite la bienvenue au Royaume du Maroc, un excellent séjour à Marrakech et plein succès aux travaux de votre assemblée. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Merci, Madame le Ministre. Thank you, Honorable Minister Mezzour, for your warm welcome and for this insightful message. I underscore social inclusion et aussi, bien sûr, si je dois le dire en français, le développement durable, entre autres choses. Et nous allons nous rappeler, bien sûr, que cette rencontre est absolument un moment pour vous et moi de saisir des opportunités, comme vous avez dit. C'est un grand carrefour des opportunités. That said, ladies and gentlemen, on the basis of Madam Minister's speech, I believe we will definitely all have a most enriching augmented experience here in Marrakesh, which will, of course, be continued on June 28 and 30, virtually as livecast, as Dr. Atick underscored. And so we call on you to join us live on Zoom and YouTube. At this point in time, we will now have the official tour of the 2022 ID4Africa exposition. Please join Dr. Atick, Minister Mezzour, and their distinguished guests as they tour the exposition hall upstairs, but return to this auditorium on time for the exciting morning plenary session, the identification arena and quotes, which will start precisely at 10:30. Now, for many of us, you and I, who have attended our previous events, you are more than familiar with these famous words, quote unquote. We start on time, we run on time, we end on time. You all know who says that. So please help us run on time to reap the most enriching experience possible within these 2 days and end on time so you can enjoy your evenings in this enchanting oasis of Marrakesh. Protocol officers, over to you. Kindly usher Madam Minister, Dr. Atick, and all special guests, guests of honor. Make sure you use the exit this way on your right, and then you all might follow on your left. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Please enjoy the refreshments, courtesy of Talis. See you again at 10:30 a.m. sharp. We'll be waiting. Thank you.